Hello, welcome to Spirituality Simplified. I'm really excited about this week's episode. It's a special episode because we had a big celestial event that occurred, and you probably heard of it, but if you haven't, on Wednesday, May 26th, we had not only a full moon, but it was a super flower blood moon total lunar eclipse. That's a lot going on. So I felt like this was really important, that I really needed to connect with the moon to see what we needed to know about this event. What does this mean for us? How can we work with these energies? How can we, or what can we expect going forward? So, for this week's episode, I connected with the moon and I channeled some messages from her around this full moon eclipse. And so I asked her, what do we need to know and how can we work with your energies to live our most authentic and fulfilled lives? So I'll be reading her messages for this episode and then I'll share my own thoughts afterwards. So enjoy. This is a very feminine eclipse intended to really highlight your feminine side. If you've been feeling especially flowery and tapped into your emotions more than usual, and really feeling that yearning to really feel your emotions, then this is from this month's total lunar eclipse. This is a blood moon appearing red in color, signifying this need to reclaim your divine feminine. Red is the color of passion and love and fire. I'm here to ignite that spark and flame from within. The eclipse is a time when the moon is hidden for just a short period. The moon is often associated with femininity and emotions, but with this eclipse, that part is shadowed out just for a bit. This can cause you to feel like you've been missing the feminine aspect of yourself. So, if you've been feeling this need to reclaim your divine feminine side, then this eclipse is why. This eclipse is designed to remind you of this aspect of yourself. It's here to remind you of your true beauty and to show yourself fully. The eclipse only happens for a few short minutes because the intent is just to remind you of what you may be missing. You know the saying, you don't know what you had until it was gone? That is the duality of life. Sometimes you need to be in the darkness to see the light. This eclipse is a reminder for you to shine your light. It's also a reminder that even though the moon is dark, it's only for a short while. This too is a reminder that there may be dark times in life, but they are always short lived because the bright side of the moon is just around the corner. And this eclipse is showing you that when you endure the darkness, you come out of it stronger, bigger, and brighter, just like the supermoon. This eclipse is a turning point. It's showing you that you have endured a dark period, but you have come out brighter, more uplifted, and shinier than ever before. This full moon is the closest to the earth throughout this entire year, which signifies to everyone there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and you have finally reached that end. It's time to finally breathe and celebrate. So I loved those messages from the moon. It felt so empowering and uplifting. And sometimes full moons can be a little more emotional and a little darker almost. It can, bring out a lot of those emotions, but this one felt really, light and uplifted and powerful. I mean, it's just amazing. This is a very powerful time. I can feel it. And it's funny, the moment that I connected with the moon, before I channeled in her messages, that song Total Eclipse of the Heart popped into my head. Of course, if you know me, I'm an 80s girl. So I love that song, but it's funny because it just immediately came to my mind. And now I know why. Full moons, as we talked about, they can increase your emotions. But this one is really tapping into the heart and into that feminine emotional side. I feel such a freeing and joyful energy with this full moon. And I really feel like this would be a good time to finally release all of those emotions that you may have been bottling up this past year. With the pandemic that's lasted quite a while and it's lasted a little bit longer than we all expected or, hoped it was be a little shorter, but because of that, we've all had to adapt and, keep trudging on with life, right? We've had to be strong and carry on for so long that sometimes we forget how much stress and sadness and pain and guilt that we've all taken on, just within our own lives, but collectively as well. But your being can only hold on to it for so long until it needs to be released. And with this beautiful super flower blood moon total lunar eclipse, this is the perfect time to finally just let it all go. We are finally reaching the end of this pandemic and we can finally stop holding our breath. You can finally let it all out. So, this would be a great time to just let yourself cry. Let yourself feel all those emotions and then finally just let them go. Release them out into the universe. It's finally okay to breathe normally again. And this applies to everyone, men, women, anybody who, whatever you identify with, this applies to everyone. Our culture makes it seem like only women are allowed to cry and show emotions. And even many women have a hard time showing their emotions too. I know I struggled with that for years before, I went to therapy and started my spiritual journey. I had a hard time identifying emotions and really feeling and understanding what those were because I stuffed them way down to avoid the pain. But as this beautiful moon is pointing out to us, we all have a divine feminine and a divine masculine side. So it's important to be balanced and allow both sides to shine. So many of us have held in our emotions this past year, and this full moon is encouraging us to tap into that feminine side and just let it all out. Allow yourself the time and space to just release it. You're 100% supported in this, and this could be so incredibly healing and powerful. So, for this full moon, there isn't any kind of long meditation that I recommend. I just feel like this full moon is it's all about release. And however that is for you is perfect. Maybe you put on some music that helps tap into your emotions. Maybe play some sad songs. Like sometimes when I listen to sad songs, it really brings those emotions to the surface for me and it helps me really feel. I feel alive. They're sometimes they're sad, but it's those are real, true emotions, right? Allow yourself to feel the grief, feel the emotions that have been pent up for so long. Allow those to come to the surface and release them in whichever way resonates with you. Maybe that means having a good cry. That's so cathartic. Sometimes, we have to be so strong all the time. And sometimes you just need to just let it go, release, have a good cry. If that resonates, just allow yourself to do that. Just give yourself some time and space to do that. It's okay. Maybe that means going for a run and just sprinting it out. Or maybe that means, screaming at the top of your lungs or going to a kickboxing class. Or maybe that just means taking a hot bath with some Epsom salts to draw out and release all those toxins that you've been carrying for so long. Again, whatever that looks like for you is great. The goal is to just let it all go for good. So once you're able to release everything, you're going to feel so much lighter and uplifted. And you're going to be able to see more clearly and bask in your glowing light. Your light is going to be able to shine through because you've cleared all that junk, right? Your true self can really fully shine, just like this beautiful supermoon that's super bright, brighter than normal, bigger than normal, shinier, fabulous. And then you can just celebrate how far you've come because you've come very far. Don't forget that. I know we've been talking about that a lot in recent podcasts, but that's been coming up a lot from Spirit. It's we really need to take some time to remember how much we've gone through and how far that we've come and how much we've really grown, especially the past year or two. And today's date, well, I recorded this actually on the eclipse date, which is 5/26/2021. And that comes out to a number 9. And 9 in numerology represents completion. It's about coming full cycle, coming full circle. And this is the energy that I'm feeling as I channel the moon on this eclipse. It's looking back and appreciating all that you've done, all that you've gone through, how far you've come, and being able to finally just release that all out into the wind because a new cycle is about to begin. So 9 is the end of the cycle. So we're about to begin a new one. It's a whole new chapter, a whole new book, even. And, life as we know it will never be the same. That chapter has closed, but a beautiful, new, exciting chapter is about to begin. And one that's full of life and adventures and so much joy. So, take a big, deep breath. Oh, man. Whew. Finally, pat yourself on the back and tell yourself everything is going to be okay. It's interesting. I just started reading this book called Warrior Goddess Wisdom by Heather Ash Amara. Actually, she has a couple. There's Warrior Goddess Trainings, actually, one. And then there's this supplemental book, the Wisdom book. But it's by Heather Ash Amara. And I don't think it was a coincidence that I started this book at the beginning of this new cycle, right at this eclipse time, because this book is all about reclaiming your goddess feminine energy with your warrior masculine energy. And that's what this eclipse is bringing in for us, coming back into balance, reclaiming those lost parts of ourselves, becoming whole again. And I feel like this is what this whole new earth ascension journey is about. It's reclaiming the divine aspects in ourselves, our work, our society, which has historically held a very masculine energy. And again, it's not that masculine energy is bad by any means. We need this too, and it's a part of every single living organism. But again, it's all about coming into balance again by bringing that feminine side out of the shadows. It's time for her to shine. And with our new earth ascending closer to source, we're able to see things from a different perspective, right? We're seeing new truths come to the surface. And one of those truths is that we are all equally goddess and warrior energy, like Heather Ashamara says. It's the beginning of a new era. So, as the moon said, it's time for celebration. It's exciting. This is good stuff. This is a really fun, uplifting full moon. So, these were fun messages to channel this time. And it's also interesting. So earlier this week, I was actually in Moab, Utah, and I visited this canyon and I felt inspired to connect with the land there and New Earth and to receive some messages while I was there. And, like the moon, the earth is also a very feminine, loving, supportive, and nurturing energy. And the messages that I received from the moon for this eclipse echo the messages I received from the land when I was in Moab. It was so cool. This beautiful, strong, and empowered energy and feeling is here to stay. This is that new cycle. It's starting anew. So it's so great. It's what I love about these messages is even if you listen to this podcast a year from now, 5 years from now, you're still going to experience the benefits of these messages because this energy will carry on forever. So it's super great. I'm going to be posting these channeled messages from Moab, live from Moab, for next week's episode. So stay tuned for that. And I recorded it while sitting on the rim of this canyon. So if you can, check out the YouTube video of this podcast because it's really beautiful. It's very cool. I highly recommend going to Moab if you have a chance. It's this amazing beauty that's so unique and special. And it's desert, it's rocks, some people may think, oh, that doesn't sound great, but I'm telling you, it is magnificent. It is breathtakingly beautiful and very unique. It's a unique beauty from anything else. So it's very cool. So definitely check that out. And I really hope that you enjoy this really very special, divinely feminine, full supermoon, total lunar eclipse energy this week. And let us know how it went for you. Let us know how you are tapping into your feminine side and releasing all of those pent up emotions. You can join in the discussion in my LinkedIn group, which is called Your Soul at Work. So I will include the link to join in this episode description. And again, I hope you really enjoyed these messages from our beautiful moon during this eclipse. And I really hope that you enjoy and celebrate experiencing this true freedom. So remember to keep it spiritual, but keep it simple. Thanks, guys. See you next time.